is about. Let's see. Let's see how bad is it. Let's see the reviews on this game itself. Let's take a look at it. I'm curious.
There are bad games, and then there's Dustborn. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And I don't want to speak in hyperbolics, well, that's Tiger, but you know what I mean. Dustborn looks to be potentially the worst game ever made. And that includes games like E.T. that are buried in a desert. They're going to need to dig up any of the copies they missed and bury Dustborn underneath it. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the
damn, how bad is it? Tell me.
How bad Dustborn is. A game that is coming from a developer that I actually, at one point, used to love. One of my favorite games from the Xbox era was a game called Dreamfall, The Longest Journey. And while underrated and flew under a lot of radars, the game was magnificent in storytelling and really drawing you into the world. So on the surface, you'd think,
really interesting.
Maybe Dustborn has a chance. And then you watch the Dustborn trailer.
It's about making tough choices, about how to deal with the people in your crew, how to manage them, and pull them together to do the job, and to make the compromises necessary to reach the end of the road and your own personal goals.
We'll be taking a different route north, through Liberty, Oregon.
Liberty? I would actually like an explanation.
I concur.
And if you thought the trailer was bad enough, the reviews for this game are even worse. I've watched some people try to play it, and it's so cringy that it's painful. Varadark said, rough launch day for Dustborn, the new DEI game where words are weapons, and it was inspired by 2016 politics. And
yeah, that's yeah, if you base your game on being inspired of politics in 2016, it's definitely not gonna end well, to be honest.
And this game has sold dozens of copies, and I'm not even joking when I say that. It has an all-time player peak of 83 people on Steam. Debuting a couple days ago, you know, around the same time as that Black Myth Wukong.
Dude, that's so sad. That's so sad that like it didn't even hit the triple digits, you know? So it didn't even hit the triple digits. That's crazy.
Game that had up to 2.5 million people playing it at one time. This game's got 83. Yikes. And that was the all-time. It's struggling to get even half of that concurrently at any point moving forward right now. Selling for $29.99 USD on Steam, I would argue that they haven't sold that many copies because many of the reviews and people that are playing it say that they got the copy for free. So the number...
Ooh! Oh man, dude. Oh, yikertons. Oh man.
People that actually bought this game is even less than the all-time player count. The developers of the game, Red Thread Games, were caught in an interview a couple years back talking about how the reason why the game was being developed in the first place was because of their severe hatred for Donald Trump. The game...
Oh. No fucking shot, dude. No fucking way. There is no way that they just really said that or so in an interview. There's no way, dude.
was born out of having Trump derangement syndrome. These developers that were talented got infected with a mind virus that destroyed their love and passion for making good quality games. Dustborn's premise is about a road trip adventure of the dystopian divided states of America with a ragtag crew, musical gear, and a robot driver. And it sounded terrible even before I watched the trailer. But then after seeing the trailer, I even made a video about this previously, how it made it even worse somehow. The execution has been anything but good when it came to making this game. The narrative is saturated with leftist political ideologies, and it made it feel to players more like a sermon of how you need to be than an actual game and adventure to escape reality. And you can't even bother trusting the Steam reviews because there's only 20 reviews on it, and clearly...
Wait, there's only 20 reviews? I want to see it. Hold on. I want to see this. I gotta see this. Let me pop this up real quick. Let me actually pop this up. Let me see. I gotta see. I gotta see. Yeah, there's 23 reviews on it. And they're all positive, and there's only like what? How many negative reviews there are? There's only 4 negative reviews. 17 hours and I have really been enjoying the storyline. It's an interesting take on such a different timeline of the Americas. To control can be a little funky when playing music, but making sure to calibrate the settings and help tremendously with even with the settings to have a less conflicting and fighting stills sets you up with battles as you learn more about your Vox and abilities. Not that far into the game, but it's pretty great so far. You do get a feeling of being on a big adventure. That's a great sign. I am enjoying the game so far. Love how the dialogue system works and how much detail there is. And the whole experience really feels like a road trip and characters are fun to hang out with. Dude, they're dude. I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all, man. These are fake gamers. I'm 8 hours with plenty of the game to go, and an in-game roadmap is anything to go by. But I figured I'd drop my current thoughts up for people trying to figure out this game is. Oh god. Only 1.5 hours in, but please, it's not pronounced Aragon. Sincerely, Oregon residents. What the fuck? Oh, here we go. We got one negative review. We got one negative review here. Holy shit. Holy god. Bro, you just gotta tell me a funny thing about it. Let's say, when I first saw this game, I knew I was looking at the next game of the generation. Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Power World, and obviously Black Myth Wukong couldn't hold the podium next of Dustborn. We'll get ready, folks, for one-of-a-kind venture. Flopborn, resistance is never futile. Holy shit, man. Oh god, that's a troll one, so it's a negative review, so god fucking damn, dude, that is crazy. The game advertises itself as a character action game with an unsettled progressive commentary on politics. I don't know any character action game where you don't start fighting until you go through an hour of unskippable iterative cutscenes as you're thrown into the middle of a story where you don't know any of the characters, but the game makes you sure that you know each of their pronouns. Like, I got this game to stream and laugh with my audience about the game's politics and pandering, and I did, but I didn't expect it to be so boring and slow. That's even worse than being woke, is not even being enjoyable. I dare people to try and speedrun a game where you can't even skip to these long drawn out cutscenes or just to the few that impact the story. Also seems like you can romance any character but the robot. 1 out of 10. The one is because I had fun playing Pong. Jeez, that's funny. That's fucking hilarious. God damn, dude.
Some of the people making the reviews on it are a little bit impacted. Let's just say probably friends of the developer.
10 out of 10 game for me. Dustborn is a mixture between Life is Strange and Road 96. This game is my game of the year. They only made like 2 reviews too as well.
Where Mr. Tuhuwabua said, 10 out of 10 game for me. Dustborn is a mixture of Life is Strange and Road 96. This game is my game of the year. But then you take a look at the actual reviews where gamers are actually saying what they thought about it. Random Battle said, a very boring visual novel that starts in a terrible spot and doesn't get any more involved or interesting. Stopping for gas is given the same gravitas and entertainment as blowing up robots. And in almost self-aware sort of irony, the first words the game tells you is that this is a bad spot to start a story. And it's 100% right. Thrust into the poorly explained aftermath of an unshown and off-screen heist described as exciting and dangerous, the band of not X-Men have hours of riveting dialogue and decisions like force your friends to do what you want and force your enemies to do what you want. Master the power of language with the ability to tell people to stop and go. Because in the world of leftist politics, words are weapons and you can use them, wielding them wisely, to attack people. And while the game did not have any kind of official partnership with any of these known consultancy groups like Sweet Baby Inc., known for injecting diversity, equity, and inclusion into the projects, according to Cabrutus's DEIdetected.com, this game was funded by the European Union, meaning that the developers were being funded by tax dollars to make a
Yeah, that honestly that explains so much, to be honest. That honestly just explains everything.
game of propaganda to make people have leftist ideologies. Let that sink in for a second. And I can't help but agree with Nev G when he said, no, it's the Antifa recruitment simulator disguised as a game. And then a gif showing the girl smacking the robot that looks like a robot cop. And it makes you think, being sponsored by the European government, putting all this money into the game, having it so far leftist and words are power, and then fighting what looks to be opposition of law enforcement, it just really makes you think what they're trying to indoctrinate people with. I mean, back in the day, all we really had to worry about was Captain Novalin on the Super Nintendo or the Bible adventure games on the NES. But this is getting a little too
Actually, he forgot to say something. So there was one game or so that was being made by the military or so. So the army made a first person shooter game, right? But like if you manage to get a high kill count or a high score or something in the game, right? If I remember, I think if I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I think if I remember correctly, the army would like try to contact you to join and recruit or something like that. I don't know. It was something. I think it was something like that, or it was something that they had some something else specific. I don't really remember, but I remember there was a game or so that the army made specifically on wanting to get new recruits or so into the army. So they made like a first person shooter game. I remember that. I think I remember that specifically. Yeah.
real. Somehow we found something even worse than Sweet Baby Inc. Governments. But people aren't just disinterested with this game. Gamers are actively rejecting another forced attempt to push political agendas into their entertainment. The disastrous launch of Dustborn is a good reminder of what happens when games become more about preaching than playing. Dustborn was a failure from Jump Street, and there was no amount of pandering to the modern audience to fix what was destined to be a monument.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like when I saw this game specifically, I was kind of like, like it's not really my type of game personally. I don't know about the army, but the creator of Forza did use the game to find young kids with potentials with racing. They did it. They did it for the army or so. There was an army game or so that came out, I think, during PS4 days. I think it was during the PS4 days. It was either PS4 or yeah, I think it was during the PS4 era. So yeah, it was something like that or so. You can probably look it up or so. But I could be remembering wrong or so specifically. But I remember they made a game. They made a game. I do remember they made a game or so. So I played that army game. Oh, you did? You played the army game? Damn. Yeah, I remember it was on the PSN store. I remember it specifically on that one. So yeah, they were basically trying to get like new recruits and shit like that. So it played like Operation Flashpoint. Yeah, I don't remember too much about it though, unfortunately. So my memory's a little bit foggy or so on the gameplay itself, but yeah, no, nonetheless though, like this is pretty bad or so. Like look, man, like if I'm gonna make a video game, right? I'm not gonna inject realistic politics or so into into the game or so, because like it's just kind of weird or so, because I'm playing a game for entertainment, right? Now if I'm like now if we're doing like Metal Gear Solid kind of type of thing, right? Like MGS type of politics shit, like that's fine, that's okay. Because it's make believe, right? It's not real or anything like that, right? So it's nothing. So it's nothing too crazy or anything like that, Because I think if I remember, there's some like make believe politic or so, and because the world is in shambles or something like that, and giant robots taking Metal Gears or something. I don't know. So I don't really know too much about the story. So I only know about Metal Gear Revengeance. That's about it. So that's the only Metal Gear I know personally. I have one of the Metal Gear games, but I haven't played it though. But I don't know. It's just something. I don't know. It's just something like that. So like for me personally, like I don't mind if it's like make believe politics, like in the game itself. Is like there has like a cutscene or something like that, right? Like there's a cutscene, a bunch of politician guys speaking or so. Like they're trying to decide whether or not they want to bomb, a country or something like that, or they want to invade or something like that. Like I don't mind something like that specifically. I really don't care about it. But when it's like realistic, like politics or so being injected in like the weird ideology or so. Metal Gear finale was a thing. I remember sitting through like 1 hour epilogue, or it felt like an hour. Yeah, like I said, like the like injecting real political shit into a game or so is just kind of like, not really my cup of tea personally. That's why when I saw this game specifically, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna play this game. This game is definitely not for me. And I like don't get me wrong, I like cozy games, right? Cozy games are nice and fun, just have nice chill time, be able to talk to chat a little bit more compared to like, playing Black Myth Wukong, where I'm focusing mostly on the game itself, or if I'm playing an FPS or so, I'm kind of more focusing on the FPS a little bit more, and trying to talk to chat as best I can, or like a fighting game is, I'm making noises and shit, making stupid noises and everything like that. So, but yeah, nothing like, but definitely cozy games are just nice to kind of just relax, take it easy, sometimes I do get tired or so. Same, I like Netflix and games. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Monumental failure. But even I could not have predicted such low numbers on Steam. Having under 100 people worldwide.
That's so bad though. 100 below 100 is so bad.
A double A game. I'm not going to call it triple A because it's obviously not that, but it's a game that had years of work put into it. All right. Lots of time, lots of effort, lots of developers putting the effort and work and voice acting and everything together to make this game just for people to laugh at it.
Words have power. They can give you strength. Ready for this? Stand still. Words can bring people together and tear them apart. But if words hold so much power, he has no respect for you.
She's right.
The question is, what do you have to say?
Dustborn isn't just a flop, it's a failure of magnificent proportions that underscores a growing disconnect between the gaming industry and
Damn, man. Even Kong or so, right? You know the Kong game or so, right? The King Kong game that came out or so a while ago. You know, at least that one did a little bit better. You know, shit. Even though it was fucking terrible too, but at least you know it wasn't. You know, at least it didn't flop that hard like this game. You know.
And the audience it's supposed to serve. Some people could argue that this whole DEI push started like 5-6 years ago, and it takes a while to make these games and come to fruition. Full turnaround, here they are, they're coming right now, and the audience is completely rejecting them.
God gave 10 out of 10.
So maybe the financial results from this is going to make.
So okay, funny thing about it, right? Funny thing that this guy's specifically talking about it, right? I have a few friends. I have a few friends who are in the actual like video game industry, right? Like I do have a few friends, right? I'm not gonna say who it is or so or anything like that, but I do have a few friends or so specifically talking about this, right? Because we were having a conversation specifically, with me and them or so, and they're pretty high up, and some of them are pretty high up in the position. Some of them are pretty much in normal like art, game design, art and coding and all that shit, like the normal position, right? To make the games, right? And this weird DEI stuff did happen a couple years ago specifically, right? So games, you know how like games do take like, a couple years or so to make and whatnot, right? For some of them or so. And then they implement this weird DEI shit into them, right? And then they come out and then they kind of flop and everything like that and not doing super great, right? So apparently like we're kind of like already at the tipping point, right? Like at the very 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 top or so. And then they all specifically said, specifically all of them or so, they're like, yeah, no, we are definitely starting to uh definitely we're going to start dipping downwards towards, actually having games. They said roughly about like maybe 5 years from now or so, because there's still some games that are still being developed or so. Like there's some that still kind of have the DEI incorporated or so specifically, and all of them, because they all tell me about their experience, right? Every single one of them tell me about their experience or so in the gaming industry, right? When they're making video games and stuff like that, right? With their crew and, well, their crew, their team, or whatever the fuck you want to say it or so. Um, Man, there's some. All I have to say is that there are some stupid motherfuckers. I ain't gonna fucking lie, to be honest. Man, dude, I was like, how does this person has a position of that role and they're that's fucking stupid or so? I'm just like, God damn, dude. Man, dude, I'm in the wrong profession or so, man. Like, Jesus Christ, man. I gotta be stupid too in order for me to get these positions or something. Man, dude. I've heard some wild stories or so, and I'm gonna be honest with it, especially when they're making video games and stuff like that. Dude, I'm just gonna be like, there's no way, dude. How are you thinking this way? How are you in this position? And you're thinking like that? I'm just like, man, fuck this shit. So yeah, so basically, approximately, probably maybe about like 5 years from now, we'll probably start going back into the golden age of like video games, roughly now. So, because now we're like at that tipping point where everything is like completely crumbling and everything from this weird DEI shit, right? That it's just not financially stable, and everyone's just kind of like taking the most biggest losses or so with the DEI stuff. So yeah. The Chinese golden age of video games has come, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, plus nowadays it's getting harder to get game designs because people like them. Yeah, but I found out I had a friend or so specifically. They kind of like explained to me like the DEI kind of situation, like behind the scenes or so, right? Because I think they were in the process of making a game or so specifically, and they told me how it goes and everything like that, and it's very interesting, I have to say, not in a good way either. So I can't say anything about it specifically, that's why. So, but after kind of like learning about it a little bit more behind the scenes, right, of what actually goes behind, right, with the DEI stuff and everything, man, dude, I'm just like, it's bad. It's really bad. That's all I can say about it. It's like it's really, really, really bad. It's not good at all. So, it's not super crazy. Like when I'm saying like bad, I'm not saying like insanely bad. But I'm talking about like as in like the game, the designing of the game itself and the changing and everything. You know, the changing. You know, the characters and all this other shit and all this other stuff. You know, that's basically is what I'm talking about. You know, this. You know how they have to change certain things and everything to fit in a certain like agenda or something like that. Yeah, no, it's pretty it's not great. That's all I gotta say. It's not great. I won't. I don't know. I don't know which game is gonna be being designed or so for that specifically, right? Because I don't know anything about it, right? They gave me the details about it, but they told me the details about behind the scenes or so of the DEI itself. So, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. So roughly about like 5 years from now, we're probably getting back into normal gaming because the one thing that kind of like what is it? That's kind of like basically smacking them across the face or so, right? With the realization that this shit is not working or so is number one is because China is trying to make a one-to-one replication or so of the video game industry or so on the Western side or so, but actually make more better games, right? Which is now starting to prove a lot ever since the start of Genshin. Ever since the start of Genshin and the boom of Genshin or so is where was the kicking of the stone or so to make the avalanche, right? Having this big old avalanche falling or so. And then also next is the Korean games or so specifically that they've been making or so, which is, the first Descendant and Stellar Blade for that sort of nature, right? So everything is just kind of like everything is now starting to move in motion or so that these are the games that people are basically asking for basically greatness, basically make video games great again. Basically, that's basically like the slogan or so, right? So that's basically is what's happening or so, and now they're kind of like realizing and waking up or so that the amount of money that they're losing or so, especially Suicide Squad or so, right? That one is a huge financial loss specifically, So a lot of them specifically talking about that, and it's kind of now they're kind of like once basically once China does make basically like a one if the western side doesn't change or anything like that, right? If the western side doesn't change or so, China will be the one that will be dominating the video game industry and the scene itself. So yeah, so say hello to our overlord China or so. But yeah, that's pretty much frankly about it. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it, that like you can kind of piece the stuff together or so and kind of see everything, kind of seeing everything being set in motion. Alan Woke is still not making my money.
All these people that are making these games, this woke agenda, go back to the drawing board and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's not do that again. But I fear that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, seeing as now we have governmental funding from tax dollars going into these games that people aren't.
You know what? You want to know what the worst part about it? These are tax money that people are being taxed on to make a video game, and this is the result of the video game. This is people's hard-earned money that are being taxed by the government, and then the government told the studio to make a game like this or so. And look what happened. It completely went down the drain or so. This is basically where their tax money is going to. And man, dude, that's not good. I will be honest with you. That's not that great.
Aren't paying for. Nobody wants to play them. People are paying money unknowingly to a government that is supporting an agenda to push propaganda. And that is anything but what gaming is supposed to be about. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com. I will link this article in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, please consider hitting that join button. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
Allowing you to really get a sense of what could have gone differently.
Stop it! Oh, what the hell, Pax?
What now?
83. Only 83 people, bro. That is fucking bonkers, dude. That's just crazy. That's actually just has it increased? Did it increase just a little bit or so? Did it reach 90 or so? Let me see. Steam charts. What is it? What is it? What is it called? Dustborn, right? Yeah, Dustborn. Let's see. Let me check. Oh man, dude. There's 30 people playing it. This is probably, you want to know something? These 30 people are probably like the dev team or so, like just playing the game or so. This is 100%. This is 100%. This could probably be the dev team right here, you know? It could probably be the dev team, like 100%. Oh jeez. Oh fuck. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. And it's very interesting to see about the Dustborn game. I knew when I first saw the first trailer about this game, it's definitely not for me. So yeah. Anyone streaming it? Oh, I'm curious actually. Hold on. You might be right. Let's check it out real quick. Hold on. Let's see. Dustborn. Holy shit, there's 2 people playing it. No way. There's actually 2 people playing it. Hold on, what do they think about it? Hold on.
That's what makes it so incredibly fascinating. What's even more fascinating is how every anomal has access to different proto-language stems, giving them new, different abilities. We know that's because of the broadcast, but we have...
It's a Telltale game, but it's also crashed twice on me, Roma.
It's a Telltale game?
It's relaxing.
Do you know of any anomal who's learned new vocals?
Before we continue, could you make another selection? We're almost done.
If you like Life is Strange, it's kind of like this.
Post-broadcast.
I think Life is Strange is better though. I think that's just my personal opinion. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe.
Until it played this strange chant.
Okay, what about the other person? Did they say anything about the game?
You make some good points, see?
Well, so do you, Eli.
Anyway, those are sad excuses for a cake. I could bake a cake.
Do you have cake mix? Flour, sugar, icing?
That was a lot less dramatic than I thought it would be.
Okay, I'm already bored. I'm already kind of bored listening to it, but damn, dude, that's crazy. Oh man, dude, 30 people are playing this game right now. Oh my goodness gracious. 83 people was the highest peak or so. Man, dude. Anyways, that's the end of the video, and yeah, you guys can comment, like, subscribe, you know, do all that fancy jazzy thing, and wow. Hopefully we get out of this this weird kind of weird agenda DEI shenanigans of gaming, and hopefully we finally get back into good gaming or so, you know. Actually get some good titles coming out these days, you know. So just like the golden days of video game. But anyways, that's the end of the video, and